All right, so why do I love Sagittarius? So I love Sagittarius because Sagittarius, if there was no such thing as Sagittarius, there would be no me. I've said this a couple of times. Sagittarius, they know this. Um, it was a Sagittarius that actually put me on to this higher form of knowledge when I was about 14 years old. I'm 32 now, but I've been studying spirituality and having experiences, stuff like this, since I was 14. And the situation with that is really Sagittarius are very calm when they're ready. They're very cool, calm, collected people when they're ready. When they decide to get frantic, panicked, that's a whole different story. But when they are cool, calm, and collected, they're very friendly people. Very friendly indeed. Sagittarius people also tend to be very knowledgeable about a lot of things, right? These are people who tend to actually study the things before they actually choose to talk about them. Not a lot of people really do the studying, right? Sagittarius are, Sagittarius for the most part are conservative in their thinking, right? They don't really like to change about certain particular things. But when a Sagittarius, being a mutable sign, does decide to move differently, you'll be surprised at how much it is that they know, right? There's been many a times where you would have essentially written off or wrote off a Sagittarius if you really wasn't paying attention. If you really weren't the type to actually look for knowledge and really love knowledge, you would be the type of person to completely overlook Sagittarius and prejudge Sagittarius because you think that, oh, all Sagittarius are worth is just fun times and romantic fun, and that's it. Yeah, they are fun times and romantic fun, but at the same time, a lot of them are very much so educated scholastically on a lot of things. You'd be surprised at how much Sagittarius knows. Sagittarius rules over scholastic works, right? So school, I was about to say spirituality. I mean, kinda, but like it is that I said before, Sagittarius are usually uh, conservative. So they more so deal with religion. And there's nothing wrong with that per se. There's nothing wrong with that. But Pisces is more so dealing with spirituality. Even though Pisces and Sagittarius both are ruled by the same planet in Jupiter, Sagittarius rules over the more conservative side, and Pisces rules over the more unconventional, non-traditional side, right? So when you're dealing with a Sagittarius is also an individual that, very much so will have you paying attention to the bigger picture. The more a Sagittarius gets warmed up to you, has experiences with. Now, I will say this though. I will say this, and this is the thing that Sagittarius have to really watch out for, right? Sagittarius, as much as I love them, they have to watch out for two things. They have to watch out for their temper, and Sagittarius has to watch out for their inability to understand that, yes, like I said, their temper, but Sagittarius has to watch out for their level of conservativeness. They have to watch out for that because when the Sagittarius does get upset or angry, it could be bad depending on the situation. They are a fire sign after all. It's like any kind of campfire that's under control. A campfire that's under control can still catch a hold of a branch and have that fire spread and burn down the entire forest, right? So they have to watch out for that. You know what I mean? I guess three things. Another thing that Sagittarius have to watch out for is the ability to fall in love as opposed to being in love. I talked about this a couple of times before, but that just kind of shows partially why I appreciate Sagittarius, because Sagittarius can be in love with somebody, right, and not necessarily know all the details. So it really depends on how you look at it. Some people may say that it's stupid. I say that it's pretty much, yeah, to a certain extent, but it also goes to show you their innocence as well. And what I mean by that is the idea that a Sagittarius can be innocent in a sense that they will ignore or sometimes not know every single detail to make sure if a person is safe to be in love. And it kind of goes to show you that Sagittarius have a romantic side, right? And Sagittarius, just like the other two fire signs, Aries and Leo, the fire signs are the zodiac signs of the romantic. All of them, they're romantic because there's a placement, a hidden placement actually, that a lot of people don't really talk about. And the placement is the Eros, right? The Eros. The Eros placement in a person's chart, mine is in Sagittarius actually. My Eros is actually in Sagittarius. So the Eros in a person's birth chart represents how they, how they look if they were, what would happen if they were madly in love, right? So it's kind of, so the Eros is a hidden part of the chart. Not a lot of people here on YouTube, just in general, talk about it, but it is a definite, it does exist. It is a part of the birth chart, the extended, what I call the extended, because we normally have the ascendant all the way to the 12 houses. And then you have in other birth charts, you'll have like, what you call it? You'll have the dark moon Lilith, black moon Lilith, the Lilith, dark side of the moon, that type of stuff, right? In Lilith, whatever zodiac sign they're in. And then you have like an arrow. So your birth chart is expanding in the sense that there's much more to do than the birth chart houses. That's why it is I say, if you want a birth chart reading, a proper birth chart reading, come and get one with me. The link is in the comment section below. Click on the link. It will redirect you to my website, and you could pick out pretty much, when you and I get on the phone, you could pretty much pick out whatever kind of birth chart you want. Variations, $50, right? 30 minutes, but it's a lot of information. 30 minutes is a long time to be giving information to somebody. That's a lot. So I'm saying all that to say, right? I'm saying all that to say that Sagittarius has a direct connection with Eros. It does have a connection with kind of the 9th house, the 5th house, as well as the 7th, in the sense that the Eros, which naturally is connected to Sagittarius because Eros is Sagittarius, right? So an Eros would represent how you would madly be in love. Now, to go back to the whole Sagittarius thing, it just goes to show you that they will be in love with a person without necessarily needing to know all the details, which is romantic, kind of gets them into trouble, but at the end of the day, it's romantic, and it shows the ability that the Sagittarius have to still be innocent and not necessarily be so skeptical. And this is part of the reason why there's a lot of people will say that the Sagittarius is actually optimistic. What they mean is the Sagittarius is really optimistic about other people, okay? If we're really going to go down to it. Sagittarius is very much so optimistic when it comes to other people. As far as, because when you really look at it, Sagittarius be having terrible stuff happening to them. Because remember, they're pulling from the opposite polarity in Gemini, right? And Gemini has tragedies happening to them. So it's like it's kind of an optimism, even though things are going terrible. The Sagittarius still has the ability to have you look on the bright side. The longer you get to know a Sagittarius is the more you realize that, yeah, a lot of these people are tough. A lot of them are warriors. A lot of them know how to fight. A lot of them, you know, very much so well-versed in combat. That's fire sign type stuff. Leos know that. Aries knew that. Aries know that. Sagittarius know that. They all know that. But what makes a Sagittarius unique, because all the zodiac signs are unique because they have their own uniqueness to them, their own specific touch of personality. Is a Sagittarius is a zodiac sign that very much so will still be willing to learn when, like I said, when their mind is made up outside of their conservatism. So you have to get to know a Sagittarius in order for a Sagittarius to listen to the suggestions that you suggest to a Sagittarius. Otherwise, I don't really see a Sagittarius is really going to listen to what you have to say. And even then, there's no guarantee. But they'll that's kind of the way that they used to be, I would say. If I would have to put a caveat to that, I would say that's kind of the way that Sagittarius used to be, where the Sagittarius wouldn't listen to anything that you have to say. Now, through time, I'm seeing that Sagittarius are kind of like getting up on out of that mentality of you should listen a little bit more to what people that you may not even necessarily know have to say, and then go do the research, because everyone has the capacity to lie, including the people that you think you know. And Sagittarius is kind of like playing that drama out as we speak when it comes to trying to be in relationships, and then coming to find out that the person that you are getting to know or in a relationship with, they're not who you wanted them to be in the first place. And they lie too much to the point where you can't stay with them, right? You have to get up and go. So a lot of the Sagittarius, a lot of y'all are really starting to realize that it's a good idea to kind of just soak up knowledge and wisdom wherever it is. And it doesn't really matter whether or not you have to particularly know the person, right? As long as you're doing your own independent research, and from your own research, it's the truth, then you know that this is potentially a source of information that you can trust. And if it's a person that has talked to you about some nonsense that they're not necessarily really sure about, haven't actually done any research, and they don't actually come back to say, hey, listen, I said this thing and it was wrong, and I want to go ahead and correct myself. This is the way it actually is. Then you know more than they do, because you found a piece of information that was contradictory to what those people was talking. And you know that for the time being, at least, if not forever, you can't really take anything that they say too seriously. You have to take it with a grain of salt. So as far as romantically is concerned, the Sagittarius that I've probably been in love with was Miley Cyrus. I think Miley Cyrus is beautiful. Sagittarius, a lot of them are very attractive physically, But I personally don't ever think I've ever actually been in love with the Sagittarius, at least none that I've thought of personally. As far as coming up, I find a lot of Sagittarius very physically attractive, but I don't know. I don't know. You know, I've never really, I don't know. I've never been in a, have I? I've been in a relationship with people that have had a Sagittarius moon. So I guess you could say that to a certain extent. Twice, right? Two different people, but full blown Sagittarius sun, I don't think I have. So I don't know what that would be like, but this is why I love Sagittarius.